Okay. Hi, Katie. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Getting Real podcast with
Mhm.
myself, Evelina Dendrulakis, and Katie
I'm
Padilla.
Katie Padilla. Yeah, Padilla.
Yes, Padilla. Uh,
Yeah.
sure. So, Katie, do you want
Yes.
to introduce yourself and kind of tell us
Yeah.
just a little bit about you, and then I will introduce myself afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Katie Padilla. I am from Tucson, Arizona, and I am a Mars Venus gender intelligence coach. I am not currently practicing as a coach, but I, with all intents and purposes, am a coach. So I use the gender intelligence Mars Venus principles in my everyday life, and I learn them and practice them. And so I consider myself a coach. I don't necessarily am practicing it, but I consider myself a Mars Venus coach. And yeah, I've been doing it for about, I think about 3 years now, 2.5 years, I'll say. And I really enjoy it and love all of the Mars Venus principles and gender intelligence um, tools. So that's me.
That's wonderful. There's a lot
Yeah.
of good tools. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Sure. So I'm Evelina,
Mhm.
originally from Poland, as you can see the name, but I live in the Boston area now. And I myself am also a coach. I went through the same coaching school as Katie did, the Mars Venus Coaching School. Great school, taught me a lot about coaching. And I also have my own company. It's called Real Authentic Self. I opened up my company in August of 25 just to kind of give back to the community. I've kind of been on my own self-discovery journey and learning a lot about who I am as an adult person away from my, family of origin, and just kind of like really digging in. And the Mars Venus School just kind of helped me understand the differences as well between men and women, because they focus on gender intelligence, but also just coaching, like how to be an actual coach and
Yeah.
how to coach people. And so, therefore, Katie and I have started this podcast, pretty well, Getting
Yeah.
Real, and we're just
Yeah.
gonna, ask some questions, like real life questions that people, have in their minds, and we're gonna
Yeah.
be try to be as authentic as we possibly can, because I think that's the best for our viewers. So,
Yeah.
Katie, I'll start with the first question.
Okay.
We kind of already alluded to, but basically introduction to Mars Venus coaching, and kind
Hmm.
of what ties us together on this
Hmm.
podcast that we have.
Yeah. So I decided to become a coach because when let's see, I think it was back in like 2024. No, sorry, 2023. I think. I might be getting the dates wrong. But when I had come across John's work again, I was going through a difficult time in my marriage, and I really wanted to kind of revisit it again, and it was introduced to me again, and I just loved reading his stuff and listening to him. He had done since then a lot of podcasts and things. I mean, I had heard about him years ago, like in the 90s, and really it really resonated with me. So I wanted to kind of get back into it again and really understand it and kind of immerse myself in it, because I was just so fascinated with it and it resonated with me, and that's kind of why. And then I saw, while I was doing all this work, that he had a coaching program, and I was like, "Oh, how perfect is this? I can use this information and help other people." And I like what you said about giving back to the community. I'm like, that's such a perfect way to say it, because I have since then just immersed myself in learning the Mars Venus tools and principles and teachings, and they're just so relevant to men and women, and especially in relationships. And that's one of his things, is to save 1 million relationships by 2030 or something.
Yep.
And so I, like I said, have since used all of these principles and tools in my marriage and in parenting and in, just all my other relationships. And it's just a game changer. And I really, really, it makes a lot of sense to me. It resonates with me. I can implement it very easily and see results. And so I really loved that aspect. And then getting into the coaching business part of it is like, oh, okay, this is how I can use this information and put it into coaching. And so, like I said, I haven't quite done that yet. But there's just, it's this time in my life, I just haven't really been able to do it yet. And some other circumstances. So it's there and I know I can use it. And I just love the platform and the information that Mars Venus coaching provides. So that's basically why I went into being a coach and wanting to be a coach.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you have that growth mindset too, like
Yeah.
you're looking within, you're trying to understand, you have that baseline, I think, which is
Mhm.
fantastic. Just having that baseline, understanding how men and women communicate differently and looking within yourself, right?
Mhm.
Like
For
understand
sure.
some of these things coming from. And I think
For
that's what
sure.
helps. Yep. So
Yeah.
awesome. Thank you, Katie.
Yeah. What about
So
you?
sure. So for myself, I too also have been struggling in my marriage as well, right? And so I was starting to, look within and trying to look at coaching. Well, first heal myself and then now giving back. And I was looking at different coaching schools, and I came across this Mars Venus coaching school actually through a mindset program that I was doing through the Napoleon
Oh.
Institute. That's actually how I found Mars Venus.
Oh, okay.
I've heard of the book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, right? I heard the book. I think everybody has heard
Sure.
of it.
Yeah.
But I was doing a mentorship because I'm really big into mindset as well. That's part of my coaching that I do. And so he had John Gray was on there talking, and I was like, oh my gosh, John Gray. And then I listened to the interview, and then I found out that they had a coaching school, and then I signed up, went through the whole coaching school, and it was great. It was a really
Yeah.
cool. It talks again. They focus more on gender intelligence, but they also have a system of
Yes.
how people should be coaching people, right? And I myself have
Yeah.
a coach, because how can you coach if you don't have like your own coach, and I think it benefits you tremendously just to have someone kind of pushing you a little bit along.
Yes.
And in their school, they have all these different steps, the alignment, the positioning, trying to figure out what the person's goal is, the client's goal, and then how to
Mhm.
actually have that person achieve the goal that they're trying to achieve. And then there's like a
Yes.
ring system that we have, a feelings letter technique, all these different techniques that they have, which I find very unique to Mars Venus coaching. A lot of different
Yeah.
schools, because I did my research when I was trying to
That's
figure out
great. Yeah.
schools. Yeah. And they had that gender intelligence piece, but they also had like the kind of like the looking within, like that feelings letter, like what are your actual feelings, instead of just
Yes.
focusing on the external, kind of looking within yourself. And then again, there is a system behind it. So that's kind of, what ties me and Katie together, is that we are
Yeah.
both Mars Venus coaches that graduated
Yeah.
coaching school, but it's also our own
Mhm.
experiences. We have very similar, a little bit experiences, like with the marital situation
Absolutely.
that we've had. We have a lot of similarities there, which we can get into at
Yeah.
a later point. But I think that's kind of where, we definitely
Yeah.
tie us together a little bit. So
Yeah. Connect for sure.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Katie. And then, so you kind of already said, but why did you decide to become a coach? You kind of mentioned it
Mhm.
earlier, but is there anything else that kind of stands out in your mind as to why you really, like, at that particular time, are like, you know what, I actually want to be a coach, or I want to something,
Mhm.
be a coach? Like, what inspired you?
Yeah, I think it was more like I just wanted to have an outlet for um what I was learning, and I figured it just resonated with me so much, and I really enjoyed learning about it, that I thought I want everybody to know this information, because it's just so powerful. And I really, it's simple, it's powerful, it's practical. Yeah, like if you're on even your own self healing journey, I mean, the whole feelings letter is very unique. And that is one of my favorite parts of coaching, and the principles. And there's several of his books that talk about it. And I think even one of his very first books, which is What You Feel You Can Heal. And I didn't get that until much later, but there's a whole, it's basically the whole book is talking about our feelings and how to process them. And from childhood, we didn't have a chance to do that. And this letter um, format is a way to do that. And so I just I really liked the process and the program itself. and being able to help others with this information, because it's very useful, it's very practical, and yeah, like you said, I think pretty much everyone's heard of the book. I mean, every time I talk about it, I'm like, that book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. They're like, oh yeah, I know that one. Even if you wouldn't think that they would, they do.
They do, yeah.
So it's in our vocabulary. It's in our culture for years, and it's a great way to explain the differences of men and women. And so, yeah, that's basically why I did go
Yeah.
into coaching. So yeah.
Yeah, and the feeling letter technique, I'm sure you've done many of them in the coaching, because you were
Yeah.
supposed to do that in the coaching program. But it's
Yeah. Well, I actually did it more, I think, after the
even
program.
after, yeah, you can do it at any time. But it's interesting because there's so many layers. It's like peeling an onion. Like, you think you have X feeling, like anger, but underneath it, it's like sadness, could even be resentment, could be jealousy. There's so many other things that we don't even think about until you actually write out the letter.
Yes.
And you're like, wow, like that felt good to just get it out there. And you don't have to reread it, but it just to get that process out of you, and get that, to process whatever emotions you're having at that time.
Absolutely. And I think for me, the best part of the feeling letter is writing the response letter.
Right.
Oh my gosh. It's like, yes, it's exactly what I wanted to feel and hear and understand from my parents, or from the teacher, or from the student, or my peer, or whatever. When you read it back to yourself, or when you just actually are open and writing out how you wanted to feel in that moment and be seen and heard, it's a game changer. Like, it's so healing. So to me, that's my favorite part of the feeling letter, because it's not just the feeling letter, it's the response.
Yeah.
And how you get that back. And that's what I think is so powerful.
It's the validation.
So,
that's
the validation.
As women, we need the validation. You don't have to necessarily agree with us with everything.
Exactly.
You need to validate our feelings. You can think it's the silliest thing in the world what I said, but the validation goes a long way. Like, and I think that response that you mentioned is just validation that, I hear you.
Absolutely.
I understand what you're saying. And you're getting it kind of like from yourself, like you're validating yourself. You're getting that self-love within.
Yeah. And I think that's super powerful, because then it shows that you don't need to wait for someone to validate you. You can validate yourself. And our parents didn't do that necessarily, or, other kids, like peers or teachers or whatever. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that in that moment, they maybe didn't have the tools to do that. And now we can actually give that to ourselves when we're seeking it, and we're looking for it on our healing journeys. And that's why I feel like that tool is so powerful.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And the tools, that's exactly it. Some people don't have the tools. And that's
exactly.
The thing. Like they don't sometimes do it on purpose. I just think they don't understand like how feelings work, how emotions work, how to validate, how to respect sometimes. Like they just don't have it. They were never taught it directly or indirectly. So, and we sometimes as humans take that in and personally, but it's like, they're not doing it, especially they just like really literally don't have the tools to do it. And it's like,
absolutely.
Okay,
and I think like the whole emotional block paper, I for lack of a better word, the emotional block explanation, and how he wrote it out, and like his years of working with people. And I'm like, when I first saw that, I'm like, this is genius. I'm like, this is a game changer. It's so helpful, because like you said, we don't know that we have these blocks. We have no idea. But over time, that's where those blocks develop, and we didn't even realize it. And so it's just like, again, talk about validation. Like, it just validates you being like, oh yeah, I feel like I'm not crazy anymore. Like, I do have resentment. And what's that from? Oh, that's from, feeling unworthy, or feeling abandoned, or deprived, or whatever. And then you're like, oh, and how does that make me feel? Oh my gosh, I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm afraid, I'm resentful, or not resentful, I'm regretful.
Yeah.
So it's like, when you process all of that and how the layers are there, I mean, and then he understands that so well. And it's in both men and women. I mean, it's, because men do feeling letters. I mean, he obviously invented it, and then he's done hundreds of them, he said, and I still use them whenever I need to process something.
Yep.
that I
Yep.
thought I had already processed.
Yeah, that you thought, yeah, and it's the triggers. That's the funny thing. We get triggered
Yeah.
in adulthood by something that someone said or did, but that trigger is
Oh.
really about that person. It's something from
Mhm.
likely from your childhood that is
Yeah.
triggered that you have never processed,
Yeah.
and you're taking that out on the person who's right there, which is usually your mate, right? It's
Totally.
the person that you have so much emotional connection with as an adult, right?
Yeah.
And you take that out, not knowing that, hey, like, why are you freaking out over, let's say, spilled milk? Like, that is
Right.
not a major problem there. Like, that's a minor
Exactly.
problem, but you get triggered, and it's like, wow, that has nothing to do with me. That is something to do
Yeah.
with something internally going on with you. I'm not going to take
Yeah.
that personally.
Yeah.
But again, growth is, as you know, it's a personal journey. You cannot,
Yeah.
you can only change yourself. You cannot force
Yeah.
other people. You can tell them and till they're blue in the face. It's like, really, it comes from within. If the person wants to do it, they can and they will, but sometimes they're just not ready. They don't want to.
Yeah.
They don't want to. It's just too scary to be like, what? My mom or my dad may have done something.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
true. It's
Yeah, and it just really is helpful to know that, like, when we say things like that, like, oh, we can't change anybody else, and this and that, it's just like people throw that around, but like that you can actually do something, and here's a tool, like that's what I love about it, where I'm like, yes, that's true, but then you're kind of like, okay, but what does that mean? How do I actually deal with this? Where I'm like, I can't change anybody, but I'm so angry, or I'm so triggered, or I'm so whatever. And it's like, oh, I can actually do something about this. And that's what this tool helps you with, which I think is great.
Yeah.
Because the more tools we have in order to deal with our emotions, the better.
Oh yeah, the more tools. I mean, really, it's a toolbox. It is a toolbox,
Yeah.
and sometimes you just you don't know. Like, you don't know what you don't know, right? So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. Okay. And so sure. So why did I become a coach? Yeah. So I think I mentioned, honestly, a lot of it came from my own personal, again, marriage struggles. Right. So I married someone who comes from a very different cultural background than me. I'm Polish
Yeah.
and Greek. And even though we're both European, they're actually very different cultures. And there was just things, after we had kids, I don't know, just things were coming out like in the marriage that was just not normal. I was like, there's no way this is only about the kids. Like, the kids are,
Yeah.
like, we had twins, so it was double everything. So it was very stressful in the
Sure.
beginning, but I think there was a lot more going on within our family systems, and we were both literally triggering each other. I was
Yeah.
triggering him, he was triggering me. And it's because, I mean, I have come to figure out that we come from extremely highly enmeshed dysfunctional families. I mean, we do.
Yeah.
In one
Yeah.
way, shape, or form. And again, our parents did the best they could. I'm not blaming them, but you have to also be realistic,
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
those things came out in our marriage 100%. So
Yeah.
we carried our families with us into adulthood, not knowing it, and we were
Mhm.
fighting about surface level stuff.
Yeah.
But really, the problem was underneath. Like, that was
Yeah.
just surface level. Oh, you're annoying me because you're doing this with the kid, or you're doing this with the kids. But that was not really the issue. It was
Right.
an enmeshment that was underneath. And yeah, it's very unhealthy. Like, when you are
Mhm.
enmeshed like that, you need to learn to kind of like get your family of origin out of you and like emotionally detach. Like, you can still be
Mhm.
close, but emotionally detached from the family of origin. And that's honestly why I became a coach, because I did a lot of my own personal journey.
Sure.
And I was like, I can't change him, but I can change myself and start looking within. And now I have a little bit more, empathy towards different
Yes.
situations and understanding. But I'm not going to also just take the whole blame on my shoulders like I used to do, like this people pleasing thing. It's like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to have boundaries. I'm going to stick up for myself and realize,
Mhm.
no, we are both at fault here,
Yeah.
And after I did that, I did a lot of family systems, coaching and training and learning as well. And top of the Mars Venus, I did a lot of mindset coaching. So I've been doing this for, I would say, at least the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Now I'm at a point where I want to give back to the community, because people are struggling. People are hurting.
Yeah, for
They
sure.
won't come out and
Well,
tell
and they don't have the tools. They don't know how to, like you said, like,
They
all like
don't.
not only just the backgrounds of both of you with your dysfunctional families or just families in general,
Yeah.
and then the fact that you're a male and a female, right? Like, so there's all those different layers, and when you get into an intimate romantic relationship, it just highlights all of it, and then you're like,
Everything.
wow. And then you wonder why there's a divorce rate, but people
Yeah.
aren't willing to really work through it and stick through it and try to get some success with it. And this, I believe, is very helpful in helping people feel successful in their relationships with these tools and understandings of gender intelligence and the Mars Venus explanations. And I keep saying tools, obviously, but it is. So yeah, I agree with you. People need the help and they want the help, and that's how we can offer that support for them. So yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and you also mentioned like divorce, which Mars Venus, right? They're trying to save one relationship at a time, right? And that's true. It's much easier because you can just be like, okay, we're getting a divorce. It's much easier to leave than it is
Yeah,
to stay. Because staying
yeah,
means you need to keep working on yourself and you need to keep working in the marriage. It's
right.
much more difficult, and everyone
Yeah,
can just go off and leave. But then
totally.
what exactly are you achieving from that? Especially when you
Yeah,
have kids involved. Now you're bringing a whole nother level of dysfunction, into that. And so
totally.
if you can change that and have the proper tools and understanding, with your partner, I think there you can go a long way. You've done it in your own, marriage. I'm trying to do
Hmm.
it in my own marriage. And yeah, it
Yeah.
does help trying to
Yeah,
really.
and it's a work in progress. I mean, like you said,
Oh
it's
yeah,
not only just a self journey, it's a
yeah,
marriage journey. Like
oh
I've
yeah,
realized that. And I mean, there's so many times I just want to throw in the towel and be like, this is too much. It's too hard. I can't do this. And it's just you're dealing with two different people, so different.
completely.
Like
Yep.
you said, just not only from our backgrounds, but also just a male and a female. And it's so very difficult to get in balance. And there's so many factors, but if both of you are willing to, peel back the layer and look at ourselves and see, where we need to be accountable, um, it's bearable and you can get through it. And there's no point in like, fighting to keep it together, but it's more like, you know, it is so much easier just throw in the towel. And there's nothing wrong with that either, because there's a level of, discomfort and work that people want to put in, and a lot of people don't want to, and there's nothing wrong with that either. So either way, we're here to help you have a successful relationship. I mean, that's basically what it is. So um and you can know that when you're looking for help and support.
Yeah.
So
And also, you can reach out to a coach also when you're just doing it by yourself, right? Because we help
absolutely.
singles and couples. It doesn't always have to be
Hmm.
couples. And
Hmm.
it's two to tango, but at the same time, you can save a relationship by yourself. Like
Yeah.
you can by doing the deep work. It is more work. I'm not going to lie, but
Yeah.
you may not have both parties agreeing to the same thing, that yes, this is the reason why we're having this disagreement or whatever, So,
Absolutely. Yeah. And I
on
think that's part of the challenge is that, it's usually the women that want to work on it because relationships are
yeah,
really important to us. It's not that it's not important to men, but they're a reflection of us, and we need the community and we need the connection.
yeah,
And, we're the ones that are more drawn to coaching and getting help. And, but yeah, I absolutely agree with you that women can, or men, I guess. I won't single the men out. One
party, yeah.
person can do it. One party. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
one
sure.
party. Because once you change, or once you start seeing the situation in a different manner, the
Yeah,
situation just kind of changes, because you're not seeing it
totally.
so narrowly. You're actually, like, when I started doing a lot of my inner work, I started actually having more empathy in a way towards like
Yes,
family, because realizing, wow, like, okay, like there's a reason, yeah, there's dysfunction, but like it's generational trauma. It's
totally.
not only that they just woke up and decided to be the way they were. I mean, they were programmed by their parents, and then their parents were programmed by their parents. And it just keeps going from generation to the generation until
Yeah.
somebody kind of puts their foot down and says, wait a second, this is not fun. This is not normal.
This is not, yeah, exactly. This isn't good.
Weird,
This isn't healthy.
And sometimes it takes a third party, like a marriage partner, for example, outside the family system.
Yeah.
To see it, because you're so engulfed in that family system that you are blinded. You're like this, like narrow vision. You don't see it, but the other person sometimes sees, okay, that's weird. Like the enmeshment, like I said, like with my husband's family, I saw it right away, and I see it every single day. Like, and it's like, but they sometimes have a problem seeing it because that's all they know. That's
exactly. They don't think there's anything dysfunctional about it or unhealthy, and it's like, yeah, well, and then that's really difficult to kind of, and it's not really your place to even point it out, and because they're just going to be resistant to it. So that's a very tricky thing, because I agree with you. Like I kind of saw it early on too with my husband and his family, and I still jumped headfirst in. You know, I was still just like, no, I'm still doing this, but didn't realize like how ingrained it is and how difficult it is to break those patterns. And yes, we may see them as women, and we may see them, you know, or as a one single party doing the work, but to try to evolve out of that is a very difficult, long process. But if you know you're on this journey, you can it kind of gives you some peace of mind knowing like, okay, don't have to solve this right now. It doesn't have to be, you know, so intense, but it does need to be working towards getting out of that enmeshment, because it's not healthy.
It's not, and it's baby steps, right? It's baby steps. It's not going to happen overnight. Like you said, you have to tread lightly.
Yeah.
And again, people I think are afraid to like be like, oh my God, I can't talk badly about my parents and so that. It's like, no one's saying to talk badly, but you do have to become an adult at some point and not be treated like a child anymore and take ownership of certain things. No one's saying you can abandon your family. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
You have to be realistic.
Exactly. And I think that's really hard for people who have been, you know, so enmeshed in it that, you know, and they become so protective of it because they don't know anything different, and they, so it's trying to get them to see that, and it's hard. It's definitely hard. But that's how coaching can help, I believe, you know, to step by step, baby step, really start to make the move towards progressing and evolving the relationship. So, yeah.
I agree with you 100%. Yeah, someone's got to start, Katie.
Exactly.
And you know what? Because you can't just live in that dysfunction forever. Sorry, because then you're passing it on to your kids.
Absolutely.
That another generation has to go through this dysfunction, right? Sorry, I personally myself am a generational trauma breaker. I refuse to pass on the dysfunction that I see to my children, and I think that's actually a very good thing. That like, I want to protect them a little bit from this type of enmeshment, because I don't think it's healthy. And then they're going to have their own issues in 20, 30 years from now. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it takes a lot of courage for you and me to do that, because
a lot of courage.
It is hard. And, but we know it needs to be done. So we're going to do it. And that's what we are doing. And this just the two of us talking now is part of that too, because we're being real about it and talking about it, and helping, you know, break the stigma of it too, and just really be like, it's okay, you know, because everybody I feel is going through that. And
yes, there's no, it's okay. It's okay. I did come from a little bit of a dysfunctional family, or a lot dysfunctional family. It's okay. Like
it's okay.
It's okay.
I think everybody does. Like if somebody says they didn't, I'm like,
and people who think they don't, I think those are the ones that are beyond enmeshed. The ones that like
like they just are absolutely like
oh, we had such an amazing. It's like, wow. Okay. Really? I don't know. Really, was it that amazing? I don't know. Is that why you're having issues today in adulthood? Like you got to look within too. You can't just consistently blame. Again, goes back to the beginning.
Yes, exactly. Wow.
So, okay, Katie.
That was
so
good.
What is coaching, Katie, to you? Like what do you think coaching is?
Yeah, I was talking with my daughter about this yesterday, and I said, you know, I really think coaching is helping you to get some clarity on those issues. Like for one, enmeshment, we'll just use that as an example.
Yep.
And, because you may not be able to see that that's one of the biggest issues in your relationship. And so you come to coaching to be like, hey, I'm really feeling this, I'm feeling this, I'm feeling this. And we as coaches can be like, oh, well, that's kind of enmeshment, or that's what, whatever. We are able to see and help you get some clarity by, I think, at least I'll speak for myself, is experiencing that in my life. Because when I'm talking with someone, I can pinpoint exactly, what the issue is that they may not see. And since I'm so focused on it and learning how to navigate relationships, I can see where the patterns are and be like, yep, I dealt with that. And this is maybe, what's going on. So just gaining the clarity and then helping them create a plan as to how to evolve out of that dysfunctional or difficult dynamic that's not bringing them happiness, that's keeping them stuck. And then really just holding them accountable to that plan so that they can have success.
Yep.
And it's a slower process in the sense of, because you have to take baby steps and you have to remember too, it's a journey and that it takes time. And if you don't even know what the issue is, right, you get the clarity, that'll be the part where you're like, okay, well, then I need to make a plan in order to get to where I need to go. So that's why the baby steps and making the plan and holding yourself accountable to that's what we do as a coaching relationship.
Yep.
So that you're not doing it alone and helping you continuously gain the clarity to get to where you need to go. And yeah, that's what I think coaching is.
Yep. Thank you.
In
Yeah.
a nutshell.
That's true, because it's like the recognizing the problems. Yeah. Because sometimes we
Yeah.
come in with next problem, but that's not really the problem. We're coming in with, okay, let's say the parenting, we're having parental differences, but where do you think that came from? The family of origin.
Yeah. Right.
Sorry. Like you parent a lot of times with how your parents parented, because that's, again, all you know. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But that could be, or a lot of times that is the main problem. And
Absolutely.
getting that clarity that, like, okay, you're not really fighting about the spilt milk. You're really fighting about like your like moral code there, and like what you think is normal parenting and what they think is normal parenting. And you guys got to be somewhere in the middle, because your way is not better than their way. You were just taught X and she was taught Y. You got to kind of get, and that respect piece too has to be there.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, I agree. Clarity is huge. So for me, I think coaching is also the clarity 100%, because we help our clients understand what is it really, why are you feeling stuck, where is the real issue coming from, also that accountability piece. And that's what is so different than like traditional like therapy, is that we don't find the solution for them, right? Because we want the client to figure it out, because what we say could potentially be the best solution may not be the best solution for them, right?
Right.
So help them figure out, okay, what could be your possible solutions, ABC, based on your issue. But then we hold them accountable for what they actually say they want to achieve, right? So if they say, oh, I want to have more romance, let's say in my relationship, it's like, okay, cool, but like, what are you doing about that? Like, are you
absolutely?
What did you do last week? Did you plan a date night? Did you watch a movie together? Did you cook a dinner? I don't know, something like, not just like, I want a nice relationship, but like you're doing nothing about it. So that's where the coach kind of comes in and helps the clarifying, but also helping them achieve those goals, not just saying it and they're going to do it. Because there is a lot of back and forth in the coaching. It's not just like talk about your problems. It's more solutions based. Like, what are you trying to achieve, and what are you doing to get there? And it's about accountability. If you can't hold yourself accountable, don't you worry, the coach will definitely hold you accountable.
Right.
And some people don't want to be pushed like that, but that's where the real growth comes. You gotta have that,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
Yep. So, okay. And Katie, what do you think makes coaching a little bit different than therapy? Like we just talked about a little bit. Like,
Yeah, I like you said, like it's the solutions. And it's seeing the problem and then saying like, hey, we can work together to get you to where you want to be. And it's having the clarity, the planning, and the accountability pieces. And that is very different from therapy, where I believe, you're working at processing your feelings, you're working at looking at your past and talking through those traumatic things, those difficult things, and you're having someone sit with you and validate you. And yes, we do parts of that in coaching, but the difference is I believe is like really working through your past, really working with your issues and processing them and having someone listen to you as you talk it through versus, hey, this is a problem. Let's get working here and I can help you get to where you want to go when we follow this process. And that to me is way more exciting. There's nothing wrong with therapy, and it's very useful and you can even do them together. But to me, I'm like, I want to see results. I want to keep moving. I want to know that I'm putting this effort in and I'm actually seeing some differences. And that's what I've noticed in my marriage, where I have started to implement these things. I've been almost my own coach of like, I need to get clear on the problems. I need to make a plan and I want to hold myself accountable. And I do. And learning that whole process has given me the results that I want. And then I can always tweak. I'm always tweaking here and there and be like, okay, that didn't work, or okay, that did. And we're going to keep doing this, So I'm always open to new and different things and trying different ways. And that's where that planning comes in. So I'm not necessarily very detailed with it, but I know the process. And that's how I approach it. And that's what I believe is very different from therapy.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like you said, I too agree. I think therapy is looking and staying in the past. Like, you're just processing everything and trying to figure out, which again,
Yeah.
healthy because you do need to do that. You do need to
Totally.
understand.
Totally.
Like you can't just totally dismiss like your whole family of origin and your whole childhood because that is what shaped you as an adult. Like you can't just
Yeah.
totally erase the first 20, 30 years of your life and pretend it didn't happen, right? So
Right.
there is that part of it, but I think coaching, yeah, it takes it one step further where it's like, okay, we got the past, we understood it. Now, where are we in the present, and where are you
Yeah.
actually trying to go in the future? Like
Totally.
trying to find that solution, that result, and then that accountability piece, trying to figure out how can we get out unstuck from whatever, or how can we make you happy in whatever situation is making you unhappy? Like how can we move that forward? Even if you don't get out of that situation, how can you maybe see it differently, even in your mind will help a little bit.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And hearing that from the coach, it gives you that other perspective too, which, like you said, when we're so enmeshed in it and immersed in it, we can't really see past it. And we help you that's that clarity piece where we kind of get you to zoom out a little bit and be like, this is actually the dynamic that's happening. So, right.
Sometimes hearing it from a third party, it's a little less sensitive, I would say, because sometimes
Yeah.
hearing it from someone like your partner, you don't want to hear it from them. It's like, well,
No, you're like, don't tell me what to do, right?
well, because I'm living it literally every single day with you. That's how I
Yeah.
know. Like I'm not, but sometimes hearing it from a neutral third party who doesn't know either party, or if it's just you're having a situation, I don't know, at work, doesn't know all your, the work, coworkers and all that.
Exactly.
Listening to you, you're having like a neutral person kind of tell you stuff versus like your friends or family sometimes may only side with you because they love you and they want what's best for you, but guess what, they can't heal your traumas. They can't.
Exactly.
Family
Exactly.
a lot of times cause those issues, cannot heal
Mhm.
those issues for you. You have to go to an external third party to do that and do that digging for yourself inside. Those people cannot really help, right?
Totally. Yeah.
The issues that you're having from the
Yeah.
from the beginning. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's why coaching is helpful. Yep. Okay, Katie.
For
And
sure.
what is your particular niche that you want to focus on? Let's say when you do
Yeah,
that.
it's funny. I have been trying to figure that out for like years. And when I was talking with my daughter yesterday, I was like, I'd really love to work with couples. I'd love to work with
Okay.
married couples because I have so much experience with that with my own relationship and using these principles and using these tools and implementing them in order to get the results that I want, that I feel like working with married couples. And yeah, I'm 21 years in. We've been together 23, but we're 21 years in our marriage, and it is very different than when we first got together. And I'm a completely different person. And so not just that, it's like dealing with the dynamics, like we've said before, of just the masculine and the feminine, the male and female.
Mm,
It's like now I'm a different person than when we first got married. Like I have gone through this healing journey and I have really done a lot of healing work. And so that creates a different dynamic. So um yeah, I relate so much with married couples, and that I feel would be more my niche once I get it up and running, because that is what I'm passionate about, because I love the dynamics of the masculine and the feminine. So
and you've
that's
lived it, like you said, you have literally
exactly.
lived it, so you can
Hmm.
your own experiences of how you transformed your marriage. It's hard to give advice
Right.
to someone who's never gone through it. Like
Exactly.
through it, you resonate. Like if I would be someone looking for a coach, I would resonate right away with somebody. Like if I was, for example, dealing with what I thought potentially could be enmeshment, let's say, and you had dealt with that yourself, I would
Hmm.
resonate with you more than a lot of other coaches, just because you have gone through that personal journey yourself and you understand
Absolutely.
how
Yeah.
difficult and touchy that subject is. Right.
Yes. And really understanding where they're coming from and having that compassion and empathy is really important.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What about you? What's your niche?
Sure. So my company, Real Authentic Self. So my on authenticity, because I have struggled myself, honestly, finding who I really am deep down. Like I think I've always been like a little bit of a people pleaser, chameleon, because I do come from parents who are a bit controlling. They definitely are. I would say my father a little bit more so than my mom. And so I always felt like I had to like kind of like please, like do things to please
Yes. Oh,
family, not really like truly, that wasn't what was good for me or what I wanted. So I felt like I never truly understood myself. And when I
yeah.
started this journey of looking within, and that's why my coaching helps with that, like learning your past, but then learning about who are you? What
Yeah.
do you want? What do you actually want? What are your beliefs? What are your values? Not your parents' values or society or your friends. What are
Hmm.
your actual values? And what do you actually want out of this world? And that sometimes I feel like is hard for people who have never really been able to have a self. Like I've had like
Yeah.
they call it a pseudo self. Like I've had a pseudo self, like a pretend that I'm okay with certain things, but in reality, like I'm not okay with
Right.
it. And that's
Right.
where,
Totally.
yeah, and that's where I'm
Yes.
trying to help people, really help them peel that onion and really truly figure out what is it that they want and who are they really, and also reframing that mindset a little bit. I focus a lot on
Yeah.
positive mindset as well. And I think there's a huge mindset component too, because what you think inside is what you're going to portray to the outside. So if you see, let's say, like your husband as this evil person all day, that's all you're going to get, right?
Exactly.
See them more as a loving, empathic person that has their own traumas that they're dealing with. You have more compassion towards that person, and
Absolutely.
it just shows in the outside world. So my niche is really, yeah, the mindset and the authenticity piece, like, because I think those two kind of go together.
Yeah.
um and understanding yourself, like, and your
Yeah.
family tree, right? You got to understand your family tree before
Yeah.
you can truly be authentic, because I think that's where it's gonna come from. It's
Exactly.
down within you. So
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And that's a great niche, because there's so many people, because we've all been so programmed, we've all been so conditioned our whole life. and you experiencing that and then being able to give back to the community in that way to really be supportive and understanding people going through this journey is really awesome. I love that.
Thank you. Yeah, because you can't
Yeah,
do that forever. I mean, honestly, at some point it catches up with you. You're just like, no, I can't even, I can't pretend. It's exhausting. It's
it's
exhausting.
exhausting. It's
There's
exhausting.
someone that's
Yes.
really not willing to go along with things that you don't really want to go along with. It is so exhausting to do.
Absolutely.
So I
Yes,
find you're
I have
people.
experienced that firsthand. Everything you're saying, I'm like, yep, yep, yep.
Yeah, and then you
So
find
yeah,
out who you really want to spend your time with. You find out who the real people are in your life. Like, you know, if they don't like the real you, oh, sorry. Like, I'm not going to change just to please you, though. And I'm not going
no,
to go along with things just so you can feel comfortable with them. That's
absolutely.
me feel comfortable. The boundaries, I think, is huge too. Like that boundaries.
Oh, yes, for sure, for sure. That's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, Katie, and what is gender? Because we talk a lot about gender intelligence here, right?
Yeah,
The audience doesn't really understand, like, because I didn't understand either when I first signed up for Mars Venus coaching. I was like, what exactly is gender intelligence? So
yeah,
what is that, and how do you apply it in your like everyday life?
yeah. It's kind of complex, I think. I mean, I don't have like a specific definition. I know they talk about that obviously in our coaching program. But to me, gender intelligence is really having appreciation and understanding for the differences between the male and the female. And they are very different. And not judging it, not criticizing it, but truly understanding the differences between the male and the female energies and the hormones and the way we relate differently, the way we deal with stress differently, the way we interact, all of that stuff is all to me gender intelligence, where there are so many different nuances between the masculine and the feminine that we don't really understand or get. And we can tend to judge them from the other person. And when you really understand, oh, he's just on his male side, or maybe he's on his female side, or she's on her male side, you tend to just look at it and observe it and say, okay, well, why is she on her male side? What does that really look like? What does that mean? Right? So it's understanding the differences and even how it plays out in a female than it plays out in a male. So like masculine energy and being on his male side as a male is very good for him, because that's where he's more in alignment with his true self. Where for a female, if she's on her male side, she's overwhelmed, she's stressed, she's giving too much, she's not softening, she's not feminine, and she's not able to be vulnerable, she's not able to be in her soft era, as I call it. There's like there's like a new hashtag going around, like soft era, right? Like being in her softness. And that would, if she's in her hardness, which is in her male side, the polarities are off, because and then he's usually in his female side, which makes him soft. And if she's hard, that's not going to work. I mean, even just physically, if you think about it in a sexual way, it's not good. So it's understanding the polarities, understanding when they're in their different sides, and really getting clear on what that looks like for the masculine and the feminine. We'll talk about that obviously later in some of these other questions, but it's just the really the intelligence behind excuse me, the masculine and the feminine and the differences. And once you know them, it becomes very clear. To me, that's what I've learned, studying it and learning it and implementing it and being aware of it when I see it in my husband and even in myself. I'm like, again, that compassion comes in and that empathy comes in, because it's like, oh, they're on their female side. Like that, no wonder he's behaving that way, right? Or I am on my male side. No wonder I'm behaving that way, right? No wonder I'm overwhelmed or whatever. So it really helps you to understand yourself and also the opposite sex. So
Yeah. And would you say like there's a safety component too, right? Like women have to feel
yes.
like safe in the relationship, and if they don't feel some
Yes.
like some sort of security or safety, that's when they can get into their male side. And
Absolutely. Yes.
it
There's all those components for sure. And that, and then it's like, why is she, on her male side? What are the contributing factors? So there's like those layers of like, is she, why is she, and how does she get back to her female side? Just like, is he, what is the contributing factors and how does he get back to his male side? So it's, there's those other layers to it.
And do you think
But
some
yeah.
of that comes from child programming too? Like girls are taught to be a little bit more masculine because they're pushed to like go to get this career and do this and this and this. And guys, let's say sometimes that they're raised by very like more enmeshed mommies who are so overbearing and smothering it in their faces.
Yes.
27, they become these men. I feel like become very feminine. Like
Yeah,
very
100%.
feminine. The point that it's like
Yeah.
this is not your role, man. Like.
No.
You gotta tone it down a little bit, like relax, like with the kids thing.
Absolutely.
Like, you gotta take it down.
Exactly. Oh, I 100% I believe it's programming, and also not only just from society, but also just those childhood wounds, those childhood dynamics. And it's because our parents didn't know either. They don't know the gender intelligence either. So it just, that's that generational trauma that we're trying to break, that if you don't know and understand, why, are these women, it's the whole feminist movement of going into the workforce and being like, you can do the same things men can, da 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 da. It's like, we have a male side, yes. But if we stay on our male side too long, all of our hormones get out of whack. We're not really we become depressed. We are not happy. We become agitated, right? Like that's all masculine. And we're not really supposed to be there. And we are on our male side. If we're working, we're on our male side all day long. And so we need a way to come back into our female side at the end of the day. But that usually doesn't happen because the men are also, they're on their male side during the day, but then by the time they get home, they've depleted all their testosterone. So now they're on their female side. So now the polarities are off.
Yeah.
And it's a big freaking mess.
Yeah.
So it's like, when you understand it, you can start to learn how to flip it back to the right way, especially when they're together. Now, if she's at work and all that on her male side, that's fine. When it comes to the relationship, though, that's when it becomes very chaotic, if you will.
Yeah, because we're not supposed to switch roles, right? Women, they crave that caregiving, that safety, and the men are really supposed to be a little bit more like the providers. And that's something I learned from this Mars Venus coaching school, is that it's also like women, that acceptance and validation piece, we crave that. Like
absolutely
not totally have to agree with what they're saying, but at least hear them out, like listen to them a little bit, and then
understand that that's them being on their female side or their male side.
And one thing that I loved about the coaching is they talked about, like, we don't always want solutions. Like, women don't always want solutions. Like, literally, they just want to vent. They just want to talk.
Exactly.
Learned to say that to my husband. I'm like, hey, I want to talk to you about something. I don't want a solution. Like, I literally tell him, like, I don't want a solution. Because men
almost have to put it on your head, right? Like,
because men are more
I don't want a solution.
Because men are more solution focused. They want to just give you the solution. Like, oh, you're having trouble with your boss. Yeah, here's a solution. Do this. It's like, gee whiz, thank you. I didn't think of that. Of course I know that, but like the woman just want to talk about it. They don't want to necessarily have the solution. And men want also the respect too. Like they want to be respected by women. And sometimes women don't always like respect the men for what they bring to the table, and that's something that I also learned with the differences of the men and women. And then like also like the cave time, right? Because I'm a talker and I can talk forever, right? And understand that the men, they do need some time alone. Like women, how we build up our hormones is like by talking, having, going on spa days or cooking, like the more like woman thing.
Community.
Community, there it is. And like they just need that alone time. And it's not like they're not pushing you away. they need that time. I mean, if it happens every day, all day, that's a problem, right? That's like an avoidant.
Yeah, I mean, because
That's different.
I had to play that out with my husband too. And
Yes.
I'm like, yes, as soon as, and it's like, I understand, as soon as you come home, I know you need to go to your cave, your testosterone's depleted, you have a 24-hour cycle, so just go
Yes.
and please detach and deal with all that. But as soon as you come out, you're mine. Like, you're basically doing everything I need you to do. And understanding that I need to feel soft, that helps me get into my feminine side, is by you doing these things for me and me not having to feel bad about them, because I know that you really want to give to me. You really want to do these things for me. And part of that is talking. Part of that is saying, hey, I just need you to sit and listen to me. I need to talk to lower my stress, where he lowers his stress by detaching and going into his cave. And it's like, a half an hour is plenty. Just
But
like 15 minutes or more for me is plenty. But if we just start off with that and really appreciate and understand what it does to lower both of our stresses. They're very different, right? That gender intelligence is very different for a woman than it is for a man, but we have to appreciate our differences and understand our differences so that we can get back into the right polarity. And that creates the attraction, right?
exactly. And then with them,
So,
like you said, they're very giving, but they need, if they're always giving to you and you're constantly shutting them down, like John Gray says, they kind of lose interest. They're like, okay,
absolutely.
I'm telling her this, and she's shutting everything down. Then you know what? I'm just not going to give her any suggestions. Again, don't always
Right.
solutions, but they do need that respect. Like the women need the love and appreciation, which of course we can get within ourselves with self-love, but it is always nice when your partner can give that to you, because then that's when
Well, and the giving piece in that aspect is he's still giving us something as long as he's actively listening.
right.
If he's actively listening, then he's actually giving us way more than giving us solutions. But he doesn't understand that all we really want is for him to just be there with us and listen to us and validate us. That's it. That's all we need.
That's all.
That
Exactly.
is giving
Yep.
times 1,000. Like that, if they could just understand how powerful that is, it is a big game changer. So that is one of the things that's very difficult. And I still deal with that with my husband, is he doesn't really understand that it's not this active, because they're so used to doing and being the hero and, all this stuff, like a physical thing I got to do. But when it comes time to lowering her stress, and he's just simply sitting there for her to talk about her day, that giving that he is giving of himself is so powerful and huge.
It's
that
so powerful.
If they could understand that on that level, just like I know how important it is for him to go and detach in his cave, and I love it because I'm like, absolutely, I appreciate it. I understand that this is what's going to make you feel better. I wish he would reciprocate that for me with the listening and the giving of listening.
Right. But you'll have some people also say, well, they're not your like emotional punching bag. No, of course
No.
not. However,
No, and it's not about them. It's about you talking about your day.
right.
Yeah, it's a very different talking. Yeah.
Yeah, and also, I mean, that's their partner. They should take the time to listen. I'm not saying you got to go have 3-hour conversations, because then they zone out, right? That is being a little unfair, but 15 to 20, 30 minutes, I mean, that is very doable. And it's like, it's okay. And that's actually kind of like respected. That's like you're respecting the other person for like hearing them out for whatever, they want to talk about. And again, it's usually the woman. The guys don't really, like you said, they don't need to talk.
No, because his way of dealing with stress is detaching. Her way of dealing with stress is talking. And so it's just those basic understandings that, and you're not talking or criticizing him for those 30 minutes. And it's 30 minutes. It's not that long. He can do that for 30 minutes. And it's just when we can relax and knowing as women that he's going to be there for us to talk about our day for 30 minutes uninterrupted, we start to relax, we start to soften, right? We start to come back into our female side. And that's what's so important for them to understand. And that is gender intelligence. is
Yep.
really understanding what it takes for her to feel on her female side and feel heard and lower her stress. Where like for him, her understanding, hey, he has to go and detach because that is one of the masculine traits is detachment.
Yeah.
Because he's been attached all day. He's been connected all day. He's bossing people around and doing all the stuff that he's got to do or whatever, collaborating, all that other female things. He needs to come home and detach.
Yeah.
And if he can fully detach, therefore he can then come out of his cave and then attach or connect, if you will.
Yep.
So
And that was the hardest part for me, honestly, Katie, with like my
Yeah.
marriage is 100% the detachment piece. Cause I always took it so personally. I was like, oh, he's so avoidant. And he does. My husband definitely has avoidant tendencies that I think, again, we're
totally. Yes.
And I am a little bit anxious attached. So as you see, the anxious and avoidant
Same.
kind of bring
Yes.
together.
I
But
think you're talking about my marriage too.
I'm sorry. Yes, yeah. It's not all about me though, realizing, okay, he does need this time. It's okay. Like, it's okay for him to go out and do his own thing and have that detachment, like you said, that the cave time, because he needs that to reset. As long as it's, again, it doesn't become a habit though. 'Cause
Absolutely. That's the
become a
key.
problem. Yeah.
He can't use it as an excuse. And it can't be like, oh, well, I'm going to be detached for 3 hours when I get home from work, right? No.
No.
You have to detach and do it fully, but it can take a half an hour. It
Right.
doesn't have to take that long. But I know John had said in one of his podcasts or something that he had been on vacation with his wife, lots of family time, lots of connecting, lots of community, right? And he didn't really have a chance to detach during the whole vacation, which is understandable, right? Because you're going on a family vacation. But he's told his wife, hey, I'm feeling a little, overwhelmed or stressed out, and I'm checking out, and he went and said, I'm going to go watch a movie for 2 hours, and that was enough to recharge him to come back. And as long as he communicated that, he reassured her, and he knew that that was what was going to recharge him so that he could come back and fully be with his wife after being with her for so long. That makes sense.
But
right?
Has the tools, you see, and
exactly.
Sometimes don't have the tools, you'll get mad at the other person, be like, oh, you're so needy.
Exactly.
Blah, blah, blah. Where it's like, and then the girl will be like, well, no, I'm not needy. And it's like, you're kind of both right a little bit, because the guy does need to detach and the girl does have a need for real to talk and communicate.
Absolutely. Yes.
Just understanding that piece of it, I think. So how has gender intelligence helped you in your life? Like in your
I mean, we've kind of talked about it already, but it really just every time I see a behavior that triggers me a little bit, I have to zoom out and look and go, okay, is he on his male side? Is he on his female side? And then I look at myself, am I on my male side? Am I on my female side? And what that looks like. So it's like understanding obviously the qualities and the characteristics of both the masculine and the feminine. And then I look at myself and deduce like, okay, well, no, I'm a little stressed out. I'm a little this and that. What can I do to bring myself back to my female side? And then sometimes it's difficult because he doesn't always understand what I need, which is like we just talked about. I need to talk. I need to connect with you. And you just simply need to sit here and listen to me. And if he isn't on his male side, I get very frustrated and very annoyed because I know when he's not being present with me when I need him. So I'll even be like, okay, it looks like you're not really present here with me. I really need you to be present with me. Why don't you go take a half an hour to go watch a show or do whatever you need to do?
That you are in. That's amazing that you recognize that you okay, he is not in the right side now.
Oh yeah.
I need to take a
So
break.
clear to me now, like after practicing this and understanding this and knowing this, like it is so obvious. What the tricky part is though, is sometimes I don't believe that he really understands or appreciates that I am very aware when he's on his female side because he takes it personally and he thinks he's weak and he's not really whatever. But when I encourage him to go take his cave time, he doesn't fully do it with the understanding that when he comes out of cave time, he needs to come back and connect with me. So that has definitely been a challenge, but I recognize it, I know it, and it's a touchy subject when you're coming from or coming and talking with a very I was gonna say masculine man, but a very proud man, instead of really realizing, no, you're really on your female side and he's not recognizing it. And I'm like, hey, you need to go take some cave time. And he's still stuck on the fact that I said he's on his female side, so he's not really able to go detach in his cave. So that's a big challenge that I haven't truly been able to work through.
Yeah.
It is a work in progress, but you have to understand it, I think, as a man, the gender intelligence as well. So yes, it can be one person that understands it and can help, guide the relationship, but he also needs some of the vocabulary and the understanding that this is a dynamic between two people, and we both have to be open and understanding so that we can get to where we need to get to. And
Right.
that requires both of us to take accountability for our parts.
Right.
If you're on your female side as a man, you need to figure out how to get back onto your male side. And she needs to understand, as well as when she's on her male side and she needs to figure out what she needs to do to get it back on her female side, he needs to understand what that looks like. It
So
may not be what he wants and it may not be what she wants, but that's not the point. The point is to help each other get back to their respective sides so that they can have that dynamic and that attraction for harmony.
So would you say that men on their female side, they get very argumentative and defensive? Like every time you say something, they get very like a woman would do, to get defensive and argumentative.
Absolutely. Why? Because feminine is emotional.
Right.
So when he becomes emotional
Yeah.
and agitated and angry, he's on his female side. That's the clearest sign.
Mhm.
Right? Because he's not being safe. He's not being protective. He's being annoyed. He's being agitated. So then it's like, okay, go to your cave time. Go detach. You need to go detach from your emotions because you're getting a little heated, and then come back. I think what's the challenge there is that they don't recognize it. They take it personally, and then they don't go do what they need to.
And how about woman when she's on her man side? How does she react?
Oh, she's overdoing. She's overgiving. She's overdoing. She's doing. She's doing the dishes. She's doing the cleaning. She's doing the things with the kids. She's cooking. She's all those things, right? As soon as she gets home from work.
Yeah.
And it's like, she is so overwhelmed.
Mhm.
And, he typically sits back and is like, what? That's fine. She can go do that. But it's like, no, you don't understand. She's not supposed to be doing that. She just worked a full day on her male side. She needs to come back to her female side, which is she needs to be receiving. She needs to know, hey, I'll help you with that. Hey, you go sit and relax for a minute. I'll take care of the kids. Or you go sit and relax. I'll cook dinner, or I'll do whatever, right? Like, she doesn't have to ask. He just knows. That just lets her soften, take a breath, and then they can go on with their day. But it's truly understanding those differences that.
Yeah, that helps it. Yeah, and also
Yeah.
the fixing, right? The women are also trying to mold and fix and this
Exactly.
and that. That's when you know
busy, because that's masculine. Masculines are busy. Masculines do. Masculines always giving. It's just a natural thing. But when she's giving too much,
yeah,
and he's not helping,
yeah,
the dynamic is off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. And for me, with the gender intelligence, I 100% agree. I think I needed to understand how to give cave time to my husband, because I was always like, he's detaching, he's this, that. And again, he does have some of those traits. That is a real thing. But understanding that sometimes it's okay. It's normal, actually. And it's a good thing. And also not to to talk for hours, because I am a talker, and I know
Me
that.
too. I have a hard time with that too.
Yeah, and I have to,
because once we have their ear, it's like, I just want to get
forget it, and they just can't. And sometimes my husband will be like, okay, Ewelina, you have been talking for an hour straight. And I don't even notice it, but I look at the clock. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have. And he's like, Ewelina, I can't anymore. And I used to get very defensive at that. I'm like, how dare you? And it's like, but dude, I have really been talking for an hour. Like, and
Yeah.
it's time for me to wind down. And that's all he can handle right now. I mean, he's just been, bombarded with a bunch of words for the last hour and
Yeah.
realizing that, okay, it's okay. Like, he has listened
Yeah.
to me. He
Yeah.
did validate. He did respect me. He did understand, but it's now time to like let him go to his cave or do his own thing. Like, so
Absolutely.
challenge for me, but realizing that helps.
Yeah,
Helps
for
me.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And so, Katie, and how do you think now, having this gender intelligence background, how do you think that will help you help others, right? In
Yeah.
say their marriages, because you mentioned you wanted to be
Yeah, like if
Yep.
if I had my clients as a married couple coming in and they're saying, oh well, you know, she just does so much around the house. She just keeps being overwhelmed. As soon as she gets home, she's, barking orders, telling people to do this and this and this, and he's like, it's so annoying, right? He's coming and complaining about that. Or she's saying, he just sits on the couch when he gets home from work. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't help me. He doesn't, like that's a typical argument or a conflict in a relationship. And I can say, okay, very clearly, he's on his female side, you're on your male side. Okay.
Yep.
And, how to slowly move the dynamic back or the polarity back to him being on his male side, her being on her female side when they get home from work is talking about, well, first I was creating some clarity there, right? And then creating a plan as to what is it going to be when you get home? What's that dynamic going to look like? Especially if both of you are working. Now, in my instance, I'm not working, but the dynamic is still there because I still need to be on my female side when he's home because I am doing things during the day. I'm nurturing my children. I'm homeschooling. I'm exercise, I everything, right? Like, so I still am doing those things. And so when he comes home, I still, especially when he comes home, I need to be on my female side in order to feel safe, relaxed, happy, etc. And so how he can help with that is, like I said, creating a plan on what she can do and what he can do, and then holding them accountable to every day. Hey, this is the dynamic we need to get into, and understanding each other and why he needs the cave time, she needs the talking. And then, okay, after that half an hour's up for him and for her, so that's maybe a whole hour, what next? How do we continue to keep staying on the same polarity throughout the rest of the evening? And then even in the weekends, right? When you're spending more time together, what does that look like? And then on vacations, what does that look like? So all of it is carried into their dynamics between the two throughout their relationship. So that's how I would use it with a married couple, because that's how I use it in my life.
Yep.
So
yeah, 100%. And for me, it's just learning how to communicate better. I'm not even kidding. Like, learning to understand, because a lot of it's communication and communication.
absolutely.
If you don't know how to communicate to each other in the ways that each partner needs to be communicated to, a lot of issues just can happen just from miscommunication. You thought this, you had this expectation, they thought that. So it's
totally. And how we communicate is so different as men and women. And that's that gender intelligence piece. That's so true. Yeah. So true. Yeah.
Yeah. And then just my next question was going to be, how can people apply gender intelligence in their everyday lives? So I think we've talked about that, just the better communication.
Yeah.
The differences really between the men and women, and how they need to be interacted with, and what they need to feel like whole, right? To be in there.
Yeah. And I think just really understanding my light just turned off. Understanding the differences, like really kind of learning them yourself.
Yeah.
So that you can be aware, because that's also part of the piece, and hold yourself accountable. So like for a woman, when she comes home from work, like she already knows she's going to be on her male side.
Right.
So it's like, you have to be aware of what that looks like, and then be like, okay, what do I need to do to get back to my female side? Yes, there's this part where I can talk to my husband, which quickly brings me back to my female side. But then how do I stay on my female side the rest of the night, right? So it's really understanding the dynamics and the characteristics of the masculine and the feminine so that we can be accountable for our part, but also have our partners, help us stay there. But really it's our job to know when we're on our opposite side and how to get back to it. And we go back and forth a lot throughout the day and throughout our lives and different seasons and different areas. So there's nothing wrong with it because all of us have both of those parts. But when we are overwhelmed, when we are stressed out, when we are depressed, when we are angry, whatever, then you're on your opposite side.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, how do I get back? What brings me back into alignment so that I can be happy, I can be okay and not overwhelmed, not stressed out, etc. So it's really our part that we play as individuals. And then obviously there's the dynamic between the two in our relationships. So
Yep. 100%.
yeah.
And what do you think is masculine versus feminine energy? What do you think? Because we talked a lot about masculine being in the masculine versus being in the feminine.
Yeah.
Right?
I think very clearly
actually, yep.
how I discern it or how I understand it very clearly is the masculine is giving energy, selflessly giving. There's no attachments to it. There's no, I need appreciation. There's no need to it. It's just a constant giving selflessly, sacrificing his needs in order to give to her. The feminine energy is all receiving. It's a receiving, it's the softness, it's the femininity, the receiving without guilt, and fully being able to relax into that and know that she is taken care of. And when you have those two dynamics where there's just this selfless giving and this guilt-free receiving, I mean, watch the fireworks, watch the dynamics. And that's the simplest terms I can give. Now, there's many layers to that, and it is complex to be in that dynamic. But to me, that's the easiest way to explain it. Giving and receiving. The masculine selflessly giving, the feminine guilt-free receiving.
Yeah, and the softness, like you mentioned, the softness, like, and the security, like women need to feel secure in the relationship and safe. Like there's a component of safety to that, like you said, the receiving, but also the safety piece of it. And the men have to feel like they're actually doing something for the relationship, right? And they are feeling respected for what they're doing. Like if they're not feeling respected for what they're doing, again, they will shut down and stop. Literally, they will just give up, essentially. You also don't want that. Yeah.
No. There's also in the Beyond Mars and Venus book, which I don't have it with me, but John talks a lot about the characteristics of the masculine and the feminine, which is really helpful because that was one of the things that I was learning about and really trying to understand. And there's, like we talked about the detachment piece. So detaching, being accountable, being strong, etc. On the feminine, it's the vulnerability, it's the nurturing, it's the softness, right? That the emotional, right? So you when you start to understand and you see the differences as the characteristics, you start to kind of go, well, where do I fit in during the day, or where do I fit in with my relationship? And so that's where you can kind of get the accountability piece and start to see where you may tend to fall. And then you start to kind of make the conclusion, well, if I'm more on my detached side and strong side and all this as a woman, well, no wonder I'm a little overwhelmed. No wonder I'm a little stressed out. I need to learn how to move back. Oh, my dogs might bark. I'm gonna have to mute myself because he's gonna bark. So go ahead and talk.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So my next question is just going to be, how does being in balance in your energy create problems? And I can answer that first now. So I think that, yeah, when women take on, the men roles and vice versa, yeah, it can cause problems, right? Like, for example, I think like women are more naturally like the caretakers, right? Like, taking care of the kiddos and maybe the cooking. And I think like when men take on that too much, I think it can create a little bit of an imbalance, right? Because then the woman feel like, well, what's my role here? Like, you know what I mean? And then when, let's say, I don't know, if the woman is like the main provider, that can also be an issue, right?
Yes.
Because again, we need that safety component piece of it. So I think, yeah, you got to stay in your lane essentially, because when you don't, yeah, it can create that imbalance, and yeah, there can be the issues between the couple. But again, having those tools and understanding what they actually are can help.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And this is all part of the bigger picture, a puzzle, right? So this is such a great tool. It's a great understanding. It really helps us to feel more compassionate, empathetic, but it is just one piece. And it's a big piece, but it is just one piece of the whole puzzle. And that's what I love, is just like, we can just, again, put it in our toolbox and be like, oh, I can pull this out and see this and be like, oh, that really makes a lot of sense. So if I'm feeling this way, or if I'm doing this, it's like, okay, I may be more on my male side, and then I need to figure out how to get back to my female side. And that's where coaching comes in too, especially gender intelligence coaching, because we understand the differences and really help you get into the right dynamic and polarity within your relationships and with yourself.
And recognizing that I think is the first step. But again, if you don't have the clarity, and that's where coach, right, would come in. And where there is that, imbalance in the relationship. So, all right, Katie, we have gone hour and a half, I think now, but this is
wow,
great.
That's good.
We have so much to talk about, and we thank our audience so much for being on our first podcast of the Getting Real podcast, and we hope that people tune in and subscribe. And we plan on doing these more often with different topics. Today we focus a little bit more about just like, what is coaching, what is gender intelligence, what is the difference between masculine and feminine, because I think that's a good introduction to it. But we will plan on having other topics, and we I thank you so much for joining me on this. I had so much fun. I think
me too. This is really great. I really enjoyed this, being able to really talk it through and really share our knowledge and our experience of our own journeys, but also with our relationships. So it's super fun. I really enjoyed this. So thank you.
Of course. And I will stop recording. Bye, everyone.
Okay, bye.